back to France without me." In conclusion, she assures me, as you prognosticated she would, that I shall be sole heiress of all she is worth, when Lady Orville. At tea time we were joined by all the gentlemen but Captain Mirvan, who went to the hotel where he was to sleep, and made his daughter accompany him, to separate her trumpery, as he called it, from her clothes. As soon as they were gone, Mr. Lovel, who still appeared extremely sulky, said, "I protest, I never saw such a vulgar, abrasive fellow in my life as that Captain. 'Pon honour, I believe he came here for no purpose in the world but to pick a quarrel. However, for my part, I vow I won't humour him." "I declare," cried Lady Louisa, "he put me in a monstrous fright. I never heard anybody talk so shocking in my life." "I think," said Mrs. Selwyn, with great solemnity, "he threatened to box your ears, Mr. Lovel, did not he?" "Really, Ma'am," said Mr. Lovel, colouring, "if one was to mind everything those low kind of people say, one should never be at rest for one impertinence or another; so I think the best way is to be above taking any notice of them." "What!" said Mrs. Selwyn, with the same gravity, "and so receive the blow in silence?" During this discourse, I heard the Captain's chaise stop at the door, and ran down stairs to meet Maria. She was alone, and told me that her father, who, she was sure, had some scheme in agitation against Mr. Lovel, had sent her on before him. We continued in the parlour till his return, and were joined by Lord Orville, who begged me not to insist on a patience so unnatural, as submitting to be excluded our society; and let me, my dear Sir, with a grateful heart let me own, I never before passed half an hour in such perfect felicity. I believe we were all sorry when the Captain returned; yet his inward satisfaction, from however different a cause, did not seem inferior to what ours had been. He chucked Maria under the chin, rubbed his hands, and was scarce able to contain the fulness of his glee. We all attended him to the drawing room, where, having composed his countenance, without any previous attention to Mrs. Beaumont, he marched up to Mr. Lovel, and abruptly said, "Pray, have you e'er a brother in these here parts?" "Me, Sir? No, thank Heaven, I'm free from all encumbrances of that sort." "Well," cried the Captain, "I met a person just now so like you, I could have sworn he had been your twin brother." "It would have been a most singular pleasure to me," said Mr. Lovel, "if I also could have seen him; for really I have not the least notion what sort of person I am, and I have a prodigious curiosity to know." Just then the Captain's servant, opening the door, said, "A little gentleman below desires to see one Mr. Lovel." "Beg him to walk up stairs," said Mrs. Beaumont. "But pray, what is the reason William is out of the way?" The man shut the door without any answer. "I can't imagine who it is," said Mr. Lovel. "I recollect no little gentleman of my acquaintance now at Bristol, except indeed the Marquis of Charlton; but I don't much fancy it can be him. Let me see, who else is there so very little?" A confused noise among the servants now drew all eyes toward the door. The impatient Captain hastened to open it, and then, clapping his hands, called out, "'Fore George, 'tis the same person I took for your relation!" And then, to the utter astonishment of everybody but himself, he hauled into the room a monkey, full dressed, and extravagantly à la mode. The dismay of the company was almost general. Poor Mr. Lovel seemed thunderstruck with indignation and surprise, and Lady Louisa began a scream, which for some time was incessant. Miss Mirvan and I jumped involuntarily upon the seats of our chairs. Mrs. Beaumont herself followed our example. Lord Orville placed himself before me as a guard, and Mrs. Selwyn, Lord Merton, and Mr. Coverley burst into a loud, immoderate, ungovernable fit of laughter, in which they were joined by the Captain, till, unable to support himself, he rolled on the floor. The first voice which made its way through this general noise was that of Lady Louisa, which her fright and screaming rendered extremely shrill. "Take it away!" cried she, "take the monster away! I shall faint if you don't!" Mr. Lovel, irritated beyond endurance, angrily demanded of the Captain what he meant. "Mean?" cried the Captain, as soon as he was able to speak, "why, only to show you in your proper colours." Then rising and pointing to the monkey, "Why now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be judged by you all. Did you ever see anything more like? Odds my life, if it wasn't for this here tail, you wouldn't know one from t'other." "Sir," cried Mr. Lovel, stamping, "I shall take a time to make you feel my wrath. Come now," continued the regardless Captain, "just for the fun's sake, doff your coat and waistcoat, and swop with Monsieur Grinnegrain here, and I'll warrant you'll not know yourself which is which." "Not know myself from a monkey! I assure you, Sir, I'm not to be used in this manner, and I won't bear it, curse me if I will." "Why, hey day!" cried the Captain. "What, is master in a passion? Well, don't be angry, come, he shan't hurt you. Here, shake a paw with him. Why, he'll do you no harm, man. Come, kiss, and be friends." "Who, I?" cried Mr. Lovel, almost mad with vexation. "As I'm a living creature, I would not touch him for 1,000 worlds." "Send him a challenge," cried Mr. Coverley, "and I'll be your second." "Ay, do," said the Captain, "and I'll be second to my friend Monsieur Clapperclaw here. Come to it at once, tooth and nail." "God forbid!" cried Mr. Lovel, retreating. "I would sooner trust my person with a mad bull." "I don't like the look of him myself," said Lord Merton, "for he grins most horribly." "Oh, I'm frightened out of my senses!" cried Lady Louisa. "Take him away, or I shall die." "Captain," said Lord Orville, "the ladies are alarmed, and I must beg you would send the monkey away." "Why, where can be the mighty harm of one monkey more than another?" answered the Captain. "Howsomever, if it's agreeable to the ladies, suppose we turn them out together?" "What do you mean by that, Sir?" cried Mr. Lovel, lifting up his cane. "What do you mean?" cried the Captain, fiercely. "Be so good as to down with your cane." Poor Mr. Lovel, too much intimidated to stand his ground, yet too much enraged to submit, turned hastily round, and, forgetful of consequences, vented his passion by giving a furious blow to the monkey. The creature, darting forward, sprung instantly upon him, and, clinging round his neck, fastened his teeth to one of his ears. I was really sorry for the poor man, who, though an egregious fop, has committed no offence that merited such chastisement. It was impossible now to distinguish whose screams were loudest, those of Mr. Lovel, or of the terrified Lady Louisa, who, I believe, thought her own turn was approaching, but the unrelenting Captain roared with joy. Not so Lord Orville. Ever humane, generous, and benevolent, he quitted his charge, who he saw was wholly out of danger, and, seizing the monkey by the collar, made him loosen the ear, and then, with a sudden swing, flung him out of the room, and shut the door. Poor Mr. Lovel, almost fainting with terror, sunk upon the floor, crying out, "Oh, I shall die, I shall die! Oh, I'm bit to death!" "Captain Mirvan," said Mrs. Beaumont, with no little indignation, "I must own I don't perceive the wit of this action, and I am sorry to have such cruelty practised in my house." "Why, Lord, Ma'am," said the Captain, when his rapture abated sufficiently for speech, "how could I tell they'd fall out so? By jingo, I brought him to be messmate for t'other." "Egad," said Mr. Coverley, "I would not have been served so for 1,000 pounds." "Why, then, there's the odds of it," said the Captain, "for you see he is served so for nothing. But come," turning to Mr. Lovel, "be of good heart, all may end well yet, and you and Monsieur Longtail be as good friends as ever." "I'm surprised, Mrs. Beaumont," cried Mr. Lovel, starting up, "that you can suffer a person under your roof to be treated so inhumanly." "What argufies so many words?" said the unfeeling Captain. "It is but a slit of the ear; it only looks as if you had been in the pillory." "Very true," added Mrs. Selwyn, "and who knows but it may acquire you the credit of being an anti-ministerial writer?" "I protest," cried Mr. Lovel, looking ruefully at his dress, "my new riding suit's all over blood." "Ha, ha, ha!" cried the Captain, "see what comes of studying for an hour what you shall put on." Mr. Lovel then walked to the glass, and, looking at the place, exclaimed, "Oh, heaven, what a monstrous wound! My ear will never be fit to be seen again." "Why, then," said the Captain,